So, you want to be the next gunslinging, unlicensed doctor in the West. Don't worry, with my great experience, I'll turn you from the guy who goes 062 to 153. What, did you think you were going to die less? You're a support. You're going to die. In this guide, I'll be covering the basics, ability usage, pros and cons, and gameplay tips. I'll timestamp them so you can jump around and such, but let's skip all that and just get right into the... Medkit is a support fighter with 350 health and 0 shield, meaning he has no natural passive healing options, such as shield regen. Is what I would say if he didn't have a passive that did that for him. Crystallize is Medkit's passive ability. Getting a headshot, kill, or assist will heal him and the lowest ally nearby. This is essential to Medkit's gameplay, but more on that later. His primary fire, Culling Cartridge, deals 60 damage per body shot and 32 damage per headshot. These numbers also translate to healing allies. By shooting an ally with your M1, you will heal them for either 16 or 32 HP depending on where you hit them. Medkit's M2 is Fan the Hammer. By clicking M2, you will unload all of your remaining shots, dealing 12 damage per shot, no matter where you hit them. So, no need to aim for headshots on this one. Medkit's Q is Crystal Shift. It's his only movement option, so make sure you keep that in mind. It allows him to teleport to a nearby ally that he has line of sight with. It damages nearby enemies, and the healing scales based on how much damage you deal with it. It also applies 100% armor for a very short duration, meaning 0 damage taken. This is very crucial, so make sure you remember this fact. It'll come up later on the test. Medkit's E is Rejuvenation Ring. It heals and damages in a small radius, sending enemies upwards as this happens, as well as cleansing any allies of negative effects. This is a great option for AoE healing, so if you have allies grouped up together, send it out. Now for the real reason anybody plays Medkit. Divine Resurrection. Any dead allies in a pretty sizable area will be revived with half of their total max health. This includes shield if their HP doesn't exceed this halfway portion. Any alive allies will also gain a pretty good chunk of HP, scaling with how many people you revived. So if you revive like 3 people, it's like 150 health, I think, give or take. I don't do math. But it also applies shield, or armored, whatever, the yellow thing. So this finisher can pretty much make or break your game, depending on how you use it. This part shouldn't take that long, as a good chunk of knowing when to use Medkit's abilities rely on your game sense. However, I still have a few tips that you might want to apply. Number 1, heal priority. Your M1 is basically your main tool for healing, so obviously you should heal anybody that's low. But if you have to choose between a fast, mobile fighter like Skateboard or Slingshot, as opposed to a slow one like Katana or Banhammer, it's probably best to heal the slower one, as seeing the faster one can just run away, as opposed to Banhammer or Katana where they're a lot more slower, and while yes, they have shield regen options, healing is always nice to have. Number 2, Crystallize. Headshots should be something that you always strive to do, but nobody is perfect. Plus, Crystallize has a 3-second cooldown, so time your shots well, seeing as it's the main way that you stay alive, but don't beat yourself up if you can't hit every single shot as a headshot. Number 3, Alt Use. This mainly comes down to having game sense once again. Take a look at the upper part of your screen. This tells you your team's status, alive or dead. Everyone alive? Good. Keep it that way. 3 people all of a sudden drop? Might be a good time to use your ultimate. Again, you'll eventually get a feel for this, but please, don't be afraid to use it. Even if nobody is revived, it still heals, so it's a great idea to use it if a bunch of fighters are low. Then again, an alive fighter is always better than a dead fighter, so you'll eventually get a feel for it. Medkit has some of the best healing output in the game as long as you hit your headshots, going head to head with even Conquer Vinestaff if played correctly. He's great at single target healing and has one of the best ultimates in the game. Plus, his self-sustainability is great, not needing to flee to recover shield and able to stay in the fight much longer than other fighters. However, there are still drawbacks. His cooldowns are so long and can mean death if used incorrectly. Plus, his damage leaves something to be desired. If you don't hit headshots, each shot only does 16 damage. His mobility also just kinda sucks. Crystal Shift is your only option, and that cooldown is so long you'll practically die of old age when it comes off cooldown. Despite all those drawbacks, Medkit is one of, if not my favorite fighter to play. He's unique, fun, and best of all, has the power to just win the game if you play it well enough. Now, here's how to stay alive in the chaos. Number 1, you're gonna get targeted. Once people realize that you're keeping your team alive, their chats are going to be filled with "Target Medkit." So stay aware of your surroundings and how and where to bail. Number 2, easy targets. Banhammers, katanas, and most supports, ignoring Coil, are pretty slow typically, meaning pretty easy to farm headshots off of them. If you can pick them out in a crowd, you can typically get some pretty good healing for yourself and whoever's low nearby. Number 3, thrive together or die alone. Medkit is an easy pick if caught off guard and alone, so try to stick nearby teammates or hide behind them when all hell breaks loose. And that'll pretty much do it for this guide. I hope y'all have a great day, evening, night, stay awesome, cool, and don't drool. Unless you're sleeping, because, I mean, that happens, I guess.